Okay, so we're actually going on to ratio and proportion this week. And I've written kind of ratio just here and just put this by it. You can think of ratio as unequal sharing. So it's that kind of thinking around, wow, if I've got 2 of something and someone else has got 3 of something. Yeah. So altogether there's 5 parts, but for every 2 that I've got, the other person has got 3. We'll say Miss Palmer. Miss Palmer has got 3 of these things. Or Miss Palmer has got 4 times the amount that I have got. Let's say sweets. I've got 1 sweet. Miss Palmer has got 4 times the amount. So for every 1 of my sweet, Miss Palmer will have 4 sweets. Okay, so it's a bit all around that language of how many times greater, times greater, or for every 1 of something, Miss Palmer has a different amount, let's say has 3. For every 1 of them, Miss Palmer has 3 sweets. Okay, and we do come up against questions like this. So these are ratio questions. So to work these out then, let's have a look. So if I rub that one off there. So we think of these of, let's say today we're finding the value of the parts given the whole. So let's give ourselves a whole number. Let's imagine there's 20 sweets. Okay, 20 sweets. Okay, and let's say for every 1 that I have, for every 1, Miss Palmer has 4. Okay, and since she's got 4 times, that's 4. So 4 times my amount. Okay, and we sort of think about these. A very good way to think about these is to, in some ways, go back to the 4 seasons to like visualize it, to construct an image to help you work it out. All right, so I did change pen. So for every 1, let's say that's my 1, Miss Palmer has 4. 3, 4. Okay. So our ratio, we actually write our ratio as 1 to 4. Okay, with a colon in between. But I mean that's how it's written, you'll see it. But what we're actually thinking is how are we going to work this out? Yeah, we've got 20 altogether, 20 sweets, but for every 1 of mine, Miss Palmer has 4. And we can do that by actually, if we think about that and just kind of draw it as a bar diagram to help us. And if we think, so there's 20 altogether, right, 20. And if we go back to our unequal sharing, you remember where else do we see sharing? Where else do we use that word in maths? If we're sharing out, we're dividing. Okay, so if there's 1, I have 1, Miss Palmer has 4. Okay, so for every 1 of mine, Miss Palmer has 4. So what we can do then, here's my 1, and then Miss Palmer has 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then by visualizing it, how many actual parts are there altogether? Okay, so we're saying 1 to 4, but the amount of parts there's my 1, and then we add on the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 parts altogether. And then that helps us work out what my one part is worth. Yeah, how many sweets do I actually get altogether from that 20? So we do 20 divided by the 5 parts altogether. And this is the kind of a bit we need to recognise, and the bit where we can sometimes fall down. Okay, because we're saying times 4, it might throw us back into when we do multiplication. We say, well, 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so it's 4 parts, but there's not. It's a ratio is different. It's for everyone. Yeah, Miss Palmer has 4. Okay, so there's, go back to this. There's my 1. This is why it's good to visualize it, construct it. Here's my 1. And then there's Miss Palmer's 4. Okay, so 20 divided by 5. There's 5 parts, and each part is worth 4. Okay, so in that sense, if we know that, yeah, and we know that each, let's change colour. You know I like to change colour halfway through. So each one is worth 4, so that one is worth 4. This one, this part, this part, this part. Okay, now we've got 5 4s. 5 times 4 will make 20. Alright, so each part is worth 4. And now, yes, now you can hopefully see how many sweets Miss Palmer has got and how much I get. So I get 4 for my 1 part. Let's do 1 to 4. There's the ratio. Miss Palmer gets 2, 3, 4 times 4. 16. Okay. So Mr. C has 4. Miss Palmer, Miss P, has 16. Okay. And by visualising it and doing that each time, yeah, because when we start today, there's 4 questions here, yeah, and you have 1 amount to think about. So if you visualise it each time, the first one is Colin gets twice the amount Coco gets. Okay. Let's take this out. So what you're thinking there, so Colin gets twice, so Colin's got 2, the amount Coco gets, and there's Coco's part there. So the ratio is 2 to 1. Okay, but the amount in total, the parts in total, yeah, there are 3. So you're going to divide that 60 by 3, so the first one. Again, next one, Colin gets 4 times the amount Coco gets. Well, that's like this one we've just done here, isn't it? 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4 to my 1, or to Coco's 1. So there you're going to be dividing your 60 by 5. Okay, the last one, it says a fraction. There's a fraction. Colin gets 1/3 times the amount Coco gets, which is a very interesting way of putting it. It's designed to really make you work and make you think. Okay. So if I take this bit out for now. Remember these videos, you can always go back, yeah, and work through each step the same as I've worked through each step. But so Colin gets 1/3 times. Maybe left it as lines there, didn't I? Colin gets 1/3 the times the amount Coco gets. Okay, and it actually talks to us about £60 there is the total for that one. But if I show you slightly differently, yeah, if you think of it, so 1/3 of the times the amount Coco gets. So there are 3 parts. So if you think Coco gets 3 parts, because it's in thirds, there's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Okay, and then Colin is only getting 1 of those thirds. Yes. So there's Colin's 1/3, and then Coco gets kind of the whole amount, her whole amount, a third. All right, and then so you can see that then is a ratio of 1 to 3 parts. Okay, so we've just twisted it around a little bit. All right, the amount of parts in total you're thinking about, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so give those a go. See how you get on with them, and good luck.